The ocean swallowed them whole. Thousands vanished. Their screams never reached shore. Metal groaned, doors slammed, shadows moved where no one should be. A vessel larger than imagination, drifting with secrets darker than the sea itself. Who or what allowed this to happen? And will anyone ever uncover the truth? The first whispers of unease began long before the Leviathan even left port. Workers in the shipyard spoke of midnight shifts lit by flickering lamps, of steel beams bending in ways that shouldn't have been possible, and of engineers who vanished for hours only to return with hollow eyes and trembling hands. But to the world outside, none of that mattered. The Leviathan was a marvel, bigger than the Titanic, a floating palace of glass, gold, and polished wood, designed to awe anyone who dared set foot aboard. On the morning of its departure, crowds packed the docks of Southampton, craning their necks to glimpse the enormous vessel. Smoke belched from its funnels, mixing with the salty scent of the harbor. Children stared wide-eyed, and reporters scribbled feverishly, calling it the unsinkable ship of the century. Wealthy passengers arrived in luxury cars, their laughter carrying across the gangways. Among them was Clara Hastings, a journalist whose curiosity had already begun to sense that the Leviathan might not be what it seemed. As passengers boarded, a strange tension hung in the air, subtle but undeniable. Crew members exchanged furtive glances. One stevedore, wiping sweat from his brow, muttered under his breath, "This ship, it doesn't feel right." On the upper decks, the opulence dazzled. Chandeliers glimmered, velvet drapes billowed, and orchestras played beneath domed ceilings. But in the bowels of the ship, among the steel corridors and hidden maintenance tunnels, an eerie silence lingered, punctuated only by the occasional metallic groan, as if the ship itself were breathing uneasily. Clara wandered through the lower decks, notebook in hand, noting the strange irregularities. Some doors were locked from the inside without explanation. Certain hallways smelled faintly of oil and mildew, though maintenance logs showed no leaks. Crew members she interviewed offered rehearsed smiles and vague reassurances, yet their eyes betrayed a quiet fear. The Leviathan, for all its grandeur, seemed almost alive, an unpredictable, immense presence that demanded respect, even fear. When the ship finally began its slow departure from the harbor, the cheering crowds faded into mist. Clara stood at the railing, staring at the receding shoreline, a chill creeping down her spine. Something about the scale of the Leviathan, the hidden corridors, and the whispered warnings of those who knew her best made her question whether the world had celebrated an achievement or ignored a looming disaster. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the deck, an unspoken question hung in the air. What secrets were locked deep inside this floating giant, and who or what would reveal them first? The first warning came as a low, almost imperceptible hum beneath the deck, a vibration that didn't belong. At first, passengers dismissed it as the normal groaning of a ship this enormous, but by nightfall, the hum had grown into a shudder that ran through the Leviathan's steel frame, rattling windows and doors. Crew members moved with hurried precision, their faces tight with worry, exchanging urgent words that passengers could not hear. Something was wrong, and even the ocean seemed to sense it. By the third day, the North Atlantic revealed its true fury. Dark clouds roiled across the horizon, swallowing the sun in an oppressive gray. Waves rose like towering walls, crashing over the ship's decks with bone-jarring force. Passengers clung to railings, white-knuckled, as the Leviathan pitched and rolled with terrifying unpredictability. In the grand dining halls, crystal chandeliers swayed, silverware clattering to the floor, while a distant groan of metal echoed from deep within the hull. The sheer size of the ship, once a symbol of safety, now seemed like a curse. Clara Hastings, notebook clutched to her chest, moved through the chaos with a mixture of fear and determination. She noticed discrepancies that no one else seemed to question. Crewmen arguing in hushed tones, instruments flickering and failing, lifeboat mechanisms that jammed under inspection. One engineer whispered to her, barely audible over the storm, "If this ship takes a wrong roll, no one survives." His eyes were haunted, as if he already foresaw the disaster. As night fell, the Leviathan's radio crackled with a brief, desperate message. The voice on the other end was fragmented, almost robotic in its fear. "Engine failure. Coordinates drifting. Cannot maintain course. Help needed." Then silence. The storm swallowed the words, leaving nothing but static. Passengers huddled in their cabins, terrified, while crew members raced through dark corridors trying to regain control of the engines. Each second stretched into eternity, every creak of steel a reminder that the ocean could claim them at any moment. By dawn, the storm had passed, leaving a strangely calm sea in its wake. The Leviathan had survived the battering, but something had changed. The ship no longer moved with confident authority. It lurked, uneasy, as if hiding a secret beneath its decks. Whispers began to circulate among passengers and crew alike. The ship was different now, almost alive in its unpredictability. Clara felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold Atlantic wind. And then came the unnerving thought that refused to leave her. What if surviving the storm was not triumph, but the calm before something far darker? When the Leviathan failed to arrive in New York, the world plunged into disbelief. Newspapers screamed headlines of the great vanishing, and frantic families called ports, railways, and embassies, desperate for answers. Governments dispatched ships, airplanes, and even naval destroyers to scour the Atlantic, but for weeks, nothing surfaced. No smoke, no debris, not even a ripple in the endless gray waves that stretched to the horizon. Then came the first fragment. A single life jacket, worn and frayed, washed up on a deserted shore miles from the ship's intended course. It was enough to ignite both hope and dread. Clara Hastings examined it closely, noting the initials etched into its leather strap. It belonged to a passenger whose fate was otherwise unknown. The discovery confirmed one terrifying truth. The Leviathan had vanished in the open ocean, and the full scale of the disaster remained a mystery. As weeks turned into months, rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed the ship had struck an iceberg hidden in an uncharted field, a silent predator lurking beneath the waves. Others whispered of sabotage, a calculated attack by someone who stood to gain millions from insurance, revenge, or political intrigue. Yet a darker, almost fantastical theory emerged. The Leviathan had disappeared into a whirlpool, a hidden rift in the ocean that swallowed vessels whole. No one knew if it was a natural phenomenon or something far more sinister. Clara, undeterred by the public frenzy, began her own investigation. She traced shipyard records, spoke to former crew members, and obtained leaked blueprints that revealed the Leviathan's secret compartments and lower decks that passengers were never allowed to see. Each detail painted a picture of a ship whose elegance masked dangerous secrets. One evening, Clara received a cryptic letter, written on damp paper and unsigned, warning her to stop digging. "Some things are meant to stay beneath the waves," it read. The message chilled her more than the icy Atlantic ever could. She realized that the disappearance of the Leviathan was not just an accident. It was a puzzle deliberately obscured, and someone wanted to ensure the truth never surfaced. As she stared at the vast, dark ocean from a solitary dock in Southampton, Clara felt the weight of unanswered questions pressing down on her. The Leviathan was gone, but its secrets were still out there, somewhere beneath the relentless waves. And the deeper she probed, the clearer it became. The ocean had swallowed the ship, but had it also swallowed the truth? The deeper Clara delved into the Leviathan's records, the more the ship began to feel like a living enigma, one designed to trap anyone who tried to uncover its truths. Late one night, in the dim light of her study, she unfolded a set of blueprints that had never been made public. Hidden within the labyrinth of corridors and ballrooms, she discovered a massive sealed compartment in the lower hull, a space so vast it could hold the weight of several lifeboats, but it had no windows, no ventilation, no visible purpose. Her heart raced as she traced the structural diagrams. According to the notes scrawled in the margins of the ship's engineers, this compartment had been added in secrecy during construction, a last-minute attempt to reinforce the hull. But the logs contained a chilling admission. Under certain conditions, stormy seas, uneven ballast, or engine failure, the compartment could flood almost instantly, destabilizing the entire vessel. The very heart of the Leviathan, the thing that made it bigger and more awe-inspiring than the Titanic, could also make it disappear in minutes. Clara's investigation led her to crew diaries, smuggled from former sailors who refused to speak openly. Their words were fragmented but terrifyingly clear. The lower decks, not safe. Something hidden, do not enter. Engines, lifeboats, all lies. One diary described strange noises, screams echoing through the steel corridors, doors opening and closing on their own, and the sensation that the ship itself was alive, shifting with a malevolent awareness. The more she read, the more it became clear that the disaster had not been entirely natural. Lifeboats were inadequately prepared, radio equipment had been tampered with, and maintenance logs were deliberately falsified. Someone had orchestrated a scenario where the Leviathan, no matter its size or luxury, was left vulnerable to a single catastrophic event. Clara felt a cold weight pressing down on her chest as she realized the implication. The disappearance was not just an accident, it was a carefully hidden crime, executed with precision by those who understood the ship's every secret. And yet, despite the evidence, there were still pieces missing. What caused the initial failure in that violent storm? Who had manipulated the ship's systems, and why? As she stared at the blueprints under the flickering lamp, a question lingered like a shadow across her mind. Could a vessel this massive, with thousands of lives aboard, vanish so completely without leaving behind a trace? Or was something far darker at play beneath the waves? Years passed, and the Leviathan remained a ghost in the Atlantic, an unsolved enigma that haunted mariners, historians, and the families of the missing. Despite advances in sonar, deep-sea exploration, and oceanographic research, no definitive trace of the ship had ever been found. No wreckage, no mass graves, no monumental debris field, only the endless, merciless sea, stretching gray and empty under stormy skies. Clara Hastings, older now and burdened by years of unanswered questions, returned to the docks where her investigation had begun. She walked along the familiar wooden planks, tracing the path passengers had taken the day the Leviathan set sail. The harbor had changed, but the mystery had not. She held in her hands the collection of diaries, blueprints, and letters that told of hidden compartments, falsified logs, and mechanical failures deliberately ignored. Each piece hinted at human negligence, and perhaps worse, deliberate sabotage. Oceanographers continued to propose theories. Some argued the ship had hit an uncharted iceberg or become trapped in a rogue current, swallowed by the ocean like a phantom. Others speculated on deliberate foul play, insurance fraud, political vendetta, or even a military experiment gone wrong. Conspiracy theorists whispered of a hidden abyss, a whirlpool that defied physics, dragging the Leviathan into a watery grave where no sonar could reach. The more people speculated, the less anyone truly knew. Clara published her findings, a meticulous reconstruction of the ship's construction flaws, its neglected safety measures, and the chilling possibility that someone had orchestrated the disaster. Yet even her work raised more questions than answers. How could a ship this enormous, with thousands aboard, vanish so completely? How could the ocean erase the evidence so thoroughly, leaving nothing behind? Standing at the edge of the pier at sunset, Clara felt a shiver that had nothing to do with the cold wind. The Leviathan had not merely sunk, it had disappeared, swallowed in a way that defied reason, leaving only whispers, fragments, and speculation. The ocean had claimed it, yes, but had it also claimed the truth? She could not shake the thought that the full story, the one that would reveal exactly what had happened beneath the steel decks, was still hidden, waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to uncover it. And somewhere, far beneath the waves, the Leviathan waits, silent, invisible, untouchable. Its secrets intact, its story unfinished, daring the world to remember or to forget forever.